gentlemen, we're talking about the Jaguar E-Type. But before we get to the test drive, welcome everybody. My name is Mike. This is Extreme Automotive Addiction, or EAA as my friend Josh likes to call it. And today we're going to talk about my 1969 Jaguar XKE. Now, as many know, if you follow my channel, if you know me, if you've been on here at all, you know that I tend to lean towards American muscle cars. I've got Corvettes, I've got a Camaro, I've got a Chevelle. That's normally my forte. But I've decided to step a little bit out of my comfort zone. Primarily because I'm trying to build a collection here that is basically full of bucket list cars. And yes, this is a bucket list car. I love the lines of this car. I thought this car was just an absolute beautiful design for years and years, and I've wanted one for a long time. I've watched after them, I've looked at them, I've priced them, and they were just a little bit out of my reach financially. Some people note that the front end's kind of long, and yeah, it is kind of long, but that's the design of the car. That's the way it was made. That's the way they wanted this car to look, and it works with this car. I mean, I love it. It's a little odd, it's a little strange, it's a little quirky, but I love it. I love the design of it. The lines of the car is just absolute poetry. It's a beautiful vehicle, and after owning one and driving this thing a little bit, I love it even more. Now, yes, the front end does resemble a 240, 280Z type vehicle, but hey, these came first, so they're the trendsetters, not Datsun. I mean, truly, there's just not a bad line on this car. Just the shape, the design, the architecture of the car, it's just amazing. That's why Enzo Ferrari called it the most beautiful car that was ever made back in 1961 when it came out. It really is a thing of beauty. So let me show you one of the really cool things about this car. The way the hood opens. It comes forward very effortlessly. Gives you plenty of room to work on the motor, but look down there. Look at how close the front bumper is coming to the ground. Just the design was absolutely amazing. I mean, look at that. It is just almost on the ground. Perfectly designed. Still allowing a great access into the motor, the engine compartment. And while we're talking motor, what powers this beast? It's a 4.2 liter straight six engine. I know most of you are saying straight six, well, it was good for about 265 horsepower, and back when this car came out, it was capable of 0 to 60 in under 7 seconds and a top speed of 150 miles an hour. Not great numbers by today, but in the 60s, that was very impressive, very impressive indeed. Now, to me, that is just a great shot of this car. It really shows how long and lean the car truly is. Pan around to the front of it. It just really is a beautiful design. I could go on and on about it, but it really is. It's just a beautiful design. I'm really happy to have the car. Yeah, let's take it out for a drive and get into that test drive we started. So what is it about this car that makes it a bucket list car for me? Well, quite honestly, I just thought the design was so beautiful for many years, and I've always thought that someday I would own one. Someday I would definitely have one. So the story behind it is I follow a website, an auction website called BAT. It's called Bring a Trailer, BAT for short. And I've had a couple of E-Type Jags that have come up for auction, and I've even bid on one before, but it was just out of my league, it was out of my realm, and I let it go with that. So this car comes up for auction, and it's in Tennessee. I'm in California. It's a long ways away. It's not like I can drive over and take a look at it, but I will say that the seller did a really good job in describing the car. Lots of pictures. There was over 100 pictures. There was like 6 different videos that he had posted for the car. So I felt pretty good about it. And he was very forthcoming with all the issues, all the problems that he would see, any little scrapes or marks in the paint, anything like that. So I actually felt very comfortable in doing the deal. So I went on ahead and bid on the car just to kind of stay in the loop, just to see the comments that were being made from people. And the comments were all very positive about this car. So it came down to maybe about an hour left in the auction, and I decided, okay, I'll bid to a point where I'm comfortable, to a point that I can afford it if for some reason I do win it, but you know, I'm not going to bid the moon on it. So basically I threw my top bid out there and I waited. And after about an hour I didn't hear anything. I didn't get an email saying congratulations. So I just kind of thought, oh well, I didn't get the car, no big deal. Well, shortly after that I get an email from the seller saying, hey, congratulations, you won it. Wow, okay. I was a little shocked and surprised. So he called me and told me that I had beat the reserve price by 500 bucks. So I said, okay, well, give me some time to move some money around, get the money wired to you, facilitate transportation, because at this point in time, it was right around Thanksgiving, you know, we're coming into the holidays, so there was a lot going on. So it took a little bit of time. It took about 3 weeks really to get everything set up and done and get the car out to me. But I have to say, I was not disappointed at all in the condition of the vehicle, not at all. It was just exactly like the seller had described to me, and I was very, very pleased with it. So the date comes, it gets here, it was December 2nd. I actually did a little video on it, but the transport driver goes to get the vehicle off the truck, and the car won't start. It's dead. That doesn't sound good. So he's like, okay, I'll jump it. He jumps it, he gets it to turn over, but he's still struggling to get it to start. The car is just not wanting to start. It's not wanting to run. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe I got myself in trouble again. So finally, he does get the car started, he gets it to run well enough, he gets it off the trailer. It's raining that day, so I don't even take it for a drive. I drive it straight into the shop because, as you guys know, I don't take my car out in inclement weather. It's just not going to happen. So I get the car in the shop, let it warm up, let it idle really good, shut it off, go out the next day, again, won't even turn over, like the battery's completely dead. So it turns out that it was just bad battery connections. The stock connectors, cables, really are not the greatest in the world, and so Eddie replaced them with some more modern cables, and now no problem, the car turns over every time, not an issue. So, but I was still having a rough time on cold start. I would get the car to turn over just fine, it would fire, then die, and seriously, I'd have to like turn it over 15 or 20 times just to get it to run. Now, the car does have a manual choke, and I thought I was pulling the choke out all the way. Yeah, you got it, I wasn't pulling the choke out all the way. Finally figured that out, and it's just that the choke pulls out very hard, and I didn't want to break it. So I'm not making excuses for myself, but yes, I am making excuses for myself. But now, once I pull the choke all the way out like it's supposed to, the car starts great, idles up there just like it should on cold, and then once it warms up, it idles right down, runs great, absolutely no problem at all. I didn't know a lot about these cars, and I'm still learning actually, but I mean, even getting it in gear, I'm like, okay, do you push down the button, do you pull out, or whatever? I finally figured that out. You know, all the buttons, which I do think is very, very cool, the way that the car is designed, the way all the gauges will flow across the dash. I apologize, we're going to be on a bumpy road for a while. But the way that just the way everything's laid out, it's just such a neat design and such a neat layout. Everything works in the car. It has factory air conditioning. The air conditioning does not blow cold, so it needs some attention. But other than the transmission, it's really in good shape. So, transmission is an automatic, it's a Ford Warner 3-speed automatic, and the seller did tell me that it was slipping between first and second. I don't see it slipping at all. It shifts just fine. The problem with the transmission is I'm missing a gear. I'm either missing first gear or third gear. A buddy of mine said he thought I was missing second gear, but I honestly believe it's either first or third. Like right now I'm doing about 55 miles an hour, and I'm tacking about 2,300 RPM. So I almost feel like driving it right now, I'm missing third gear. I need to have third gear. But, you know, if I slip it up, then I'm in neutral right there. So that's definitely in the position of third. But, you know, I can drop it down one. It should drop into second right there. It doesn't. So I can manually shifting. It feels like it launches out okay, but yeah, it's just definitely not operating correctly. So what happened was, in all the comments going on for this auction, one guy chimed in and said that he had like 3 rebuilt transmissions and he'd be willing to sell one of them for a very good price delivered. So I went on ahead and bought that transmission. It's currently at Al's Transmission. They've just been very busy, but I wanted to just kind of go through, make sure that the transmission looks good, and then once they're ready for it, I'll bring the car down, they'll swap out the transmission, and this car will be good to go. Interior wise, it's about as good a shape as I could possibly ask for. All the gauges were, signals, lights, everything like that. The front seats have been redone, the back seats still all original, but it's in great shape. The carpet was redone, the headliner's in great shape, the visors, the steering wheel, I mean, the car is just really in great shape. The paint, I suspect it's probably had one repaint. There are a few little scratches and things like that in it, but nothing major. Just a nice driver car. The back hatch, you can see where the paint doesn't quite match up to the rest of the body, but that's okay with me. I love the car. I mean, the more I drive this car, the more I enjoy it, the more I love it. It's just a great, comfortable, great riding car. And I may repeat myself in this video a couple of times about that, but I really am enjoying it a lot. All I can say is that if you ever have the chance to drive or even own a Jag E-Type, definitely take it. They're great cars. So another unique feature about this car, access to the rear. I think that's actually pretty cool. Maybe it's just me. I did notice, just driving it right now, one time I stepped into it, it dropped down a gear, felt like it hit first gear, pulled out pretty aggressively, more so than it has before, and I did get 2 shifts out of it. No, it only did it one time for me. So I kind of suspect I'm missing first gear. I think I'm missing low gear. I tried it again and it didn't work for me. So, you know, we'll see what happens, but it'll be good to get this thing down to Al's transmission. It'll be good to get a fresh transmission in it and get it shifting and running the way it should. But before I end the video, I need to share one really cool fact about this car with you guys. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see this because it was all handwritten back in the day, but this vehicle, when it came from the factory, originally went to a place called Thaleby Motor Sales Company in Michigan, and the date that it went was 7/18/69. That happens to be the day I was born, 7/18/69. So in a sense, this car and I have the same delivery date, which I think is kind of cool. It was one of those things, I did see it in the pictures, I marveled at it, and I thought, man, it was just kind of meant to be. Nice other little view of a really beautifully designed car. I love it. Like I said, if you guys have the chance to drive one, to own one, please take advantage of it. You won't be disappointed. It's just a phenomenal car. It's a lot of fun to drive. It's definitely not the fastest out there, not the sportiest, but it is a beautiful design. You guys won't be disappointed. So hopefully you like the video. If you do, please do give me a thumbs up. If you're stopping in for the first time or haven't already subscribed, Extreme Automotive Addiction, it's what we live for. Instagram PO box in the description below. God bless. Take care. Have an absolutely amazing day.